This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for June 16, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, CSEC investigating recent CSEC math paper leak. The Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch is probing the recent leak of the Caribbean Secondary Education Council mathematics test paper. Last month, the Caribbean Examinations Council reported that a leak of the CSEC Mathematics Paper 2 originated in Jamaica. The Caribbean Examinations Council said the paper had subsequently been leaked across the region. The Overseas Examinations Commission said it wrote to the police, providing the information gathered during its own probe into the leak. Sharon Burnett, Deputy Director of the Commission, said it is now up to the police investigators to determine the best course of action. In light of the leak, CSEC decided that the grading of the CSEC mathematics paper will be based on Paper 1 and the school-based assessment, or Paper 3, the alternative to the SBA. Indicom concerned about a number of cops who accidentally shoot themselves. The Independent Commission of Investigations says it is concerned about the number of police officers who accidentally shot themselves. Assistant Commissioner Hamish Campbell raised the concern during Thursday's quarterly press briefing. He is recommending that the Jamaica Constabulary Force conduct an assessment. We just want the GCF to address in terms of whether there is any carelessness or negligence with regard to their officers shooting themselves, he said. Mr. Campbell noted that these incidents result in sickness, officers being abstracted from duty and absent from work. Labor Ministry begins paying new pension rates. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security began payment of new pension rates on Thursday. This is the first increase received by pensioners under the National Insurance Scheme in 5 years. The ministry had previously indicated that payment of the new rates, which became effective on April 1, 2023, would be delivered on a phased basis starting mid-June 2023.
Some of our pensioners saw the new amounts reflected in their accounts as early as 5 days ago, ahead of the projected time. The ministry is also reminding pensioners who are paid by the pension order books that they will receive the new rates when their new pension order books are due beginning in July. The first pension order voucher in the new book will reflect the arrears as well as the month's payment at the new rate. The pension rate increases are applicable to retirement pension benefits, the invalidity and the widows and widowers pension, and they range from 23% to 76%. The benefit for persons in receipt of full rate pensions has increased by the 23%, moving from $3,400 to $4,200 per week. For persons receiving the three-quarter rate, the benefit has increased by 37% and moves from $2,550 per week to $3,500 per week. Persons receiving the half-rate pensions will see an increase of 76%, moving from $1,700 per week to $3,000 per week.
Jean and Panton further remanded in SSL fraud case. Jean and Panton, the former Stocks Anti-Securities Limited wealth advisor accused of fraud, has been further remanded until December 6. Ms. Panton appeared via video conferencing in the Supreme Court on Thursday. Prior to Thursday's adjournment, the court was told that the case file is still incomplete. Reports from cybercrimes experts at the Financial Investigation Division, as well as the Communications Forensic and the Cybercrime Division, are outstanding. They are expected to be submitted and disclosed within 2 to 3 months. The prosecution is to disclose 5 further statements on the defense Thursday. Ms. Panton is facing a 22-count indictment charging her with forgery, larceny as a servant, and engaging in a transaction involving criminal property. The wealth advisor is accused of removing a total of US $10 million and Jamaican $90 million from a number of accounts managed by SSL. Indicom reports a decrease in people killed by security forces. The Independent Commission of Investigations is reporting a significant decrease in the number of people killed in confrontation with members of the security forces over the last decade. The investigative body says there has been a 7% decrease for January to March this year compared with the corresponding period in 2022. Assistant Commissioner Hamish Campbell said 28 people were killed and 25 others shot and wounded during the first 3 months of this year.
In comparison with last year's same quarter, there is very little. 30 people were killed last year and 22 injured. So in fact, there's 2 people less killed this first quarter, a 7% reduction over last year. And this same number of 28 to 30 has been the same figure for the last 4 or 5 years. But I think it's still worth reflecting that as far back as 2011, 12 and 13, in the first quarter of those years, the numbers killed were 63, 66, 67. So there is a significant downturn in the last decade, which is important to recognize, but it still remains at this number, 23, 24 to 28 in the first quarter.
Mr. Faulkner outlined that 2 people died in police custody. The Indicom head was speaking Thursday at the Commissioner's quarterly press briefing. He said the investigative body disposed of 298 cases during the first quarter of the year. Some 200 cases were concluded with a commission's report, while 98 were closed on initial intervention.
Comparatively, for the first quarter of 2022, the Commission recorded 259 new incidents. So there's a 7% decrease in complaints for the first quarter of 2023 comparatively with the first quarter of 2022. During the first quarter of 2023, 30 civilians died from security force related incidents investigated by Indico. Of the 30, 28 persons were fatally shot arising from 26 incidents and 2 persons died in custody. So those 2 were deaths in custody. Of the 200 cases concluded with the Commission's report, 172 or 86% were determined as insufficient evidence to support a charge or disciplinary proceeding. A further 25 cases involving 42 officers were recommended for disciplinary action to be instituted, while 3 cases involving 3 officers were recommended for charges. It should be recognized that cases recommended for charge will and always should be in the minority.
JCTU and the Finance Ministry to discuss the delayed payment of increments to public sector workers. Helen Davis-White, president of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, says the delay in payments of increments and allowances owed to public sector workers is to be discussed at the next meeting with the finance minister. Mrs. Davis-White said government had given instructions that increments should be paid over the next 3 years as part of public sector compensation restructuring. But she said this would affect the morale of employees as well as the pension of those set to retire within that period.
We continue to maintain that increments are performance-based. And if you have it such that workers will not receive, their increments, which they would have gotten as a result of good performance, then workers would be totally demotivated, and performance in the government sector would be affected. Also, that when you don't pay the increments that are due, you have persons who are set for retirement, that their pensions would be calculated on a lower figure than it should actually be. So we have made clear that we are not in support of that instruction that went out.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.